Okay, so what's going on in the election stuff is absolutely unbelievable. Let me just tell your audience. Um, Tulsi Gabbard got a complete everything report um, together concerning all the different aspects of the election fraud that have happened so far. And they gave that to Trump at the beginning of the week. Everything. How it was hacked, who was involved. Here's the part that's really not understood, okay? And she's, said stuff to make it very clear what's going on. Tulsi gave him gave the president a complete report. And what it's going to show is not just how they did it, but who was involved and getting ready to switch from the investigative to the prosecutorial. See, what Tulsi just gave the president goes to the next level. We are now ready. We have everything to begin going to grand juries, getting indictments, and having people picked up. And the only question left, will those be for tribunal? Remember, you have to investigate tribunals, non-Article 3 courts. Clearly, where they're going, let there be no misunderstanding anywhere in this audience. As the starter, Brennan and Comey and Clapper are going to be looked at for treason.
So that's military tribunals and even execution, man. That's severe.
Well, it's the full thing because what they've done isn't just treason. They've interfered in a president's ability to operate as president. So, in President Trump's first term, and tried to block him from becoming president. Where Obama comes into that, let me just help your listeners for a second. Let's go back to Patrick Byrne. What is it about his history that he's been telling you all along is going on? He was asked, because he was an asset in the form that he could be used by three-letter agencies to gather information for the U.S. government. He wasn't paid. He did it as a public service, just like a lot of people in this audience. If you were asked to help as a matter of national security and you were in the right position as an executive or something, what are you going to say? No, you're an American. Something's going on. You're trying to save the country. Okay. So Patrick had done that a couple of different times. And in fact, he was asked and told that Hillary Clinton was apparently receiving bribes. So would he try to see if she would in fact take a bribe and they could document it? Because they don't want a person running for president who, is taking bribes. He did so, and she did in fact agree to accept a bribe of $18 million. And then a week later, he's with the FBI agents who asked him, who tried to do this. And suddenly they tell him, forget everything you heard, lose everything that you had on this, just fade into the woodwork. And he's at, what are you talking about? He's like, last week you were breaking champagne bottles, okay? Celebrating, we got her. And they're almost embarrassed. No. It reaches the point where they say, your life essentially could be on the line if you don't, go away, forget this, don't be involved in this. So Patrick puts it together that with what he did later with the Russian girl and setting him up there, what was really going on was that Obama and the crew in that White House, remember, Obama was in office still, with the help of Brennan and other people, including Comer and Clapper, wanted to set up Hillary Clinton, but they wanted her to win.
Jeez.
So they would have a noose around her neck to control her, remote control, right? But when Trump won, none of them could believe it happened. They couldn't protect themselves, so they had to attack Trump. And Flynn, as the national security advisor to Trump, was already aware in the background with Patrick about the setup on Hillary. He was going to go and track down everything there and go to some sort of a prosecution, because he was of the understanding, of course, that what they were really looking at was some kind of a setup to have Obama essentially running a third term by controlling Hillary. So when Flynn was coming into office, that's when Obama, just at the tail end of his administration, warns Trump not to bring in Flynn.
Because I guess did Obama underestimate Trump? He didn't know he was in operation, or what? He didn't know that Trump already knew everything?
No, at that point in time, they weren't aware exactly how this was going to play out, but they knew that, Flynn had been in touch with Patrick, almost certainly. And so they suspected that they had a problem there, that Trump could go in and figure out that it wasn't just that they got Hillary, but that they didn't use it. They didn't pursue it because it wasn't about prosecuting Hillary.
92% of people believe this, but is it true?
Clickbait.
They say herpes is a life
Let me
sentence,
try to get
but
rid
that's a
of
lie.
it.
Hundreds of people are.
It was about having a noose around her neck, a choker, so she would be doing anything they wanted done without any pushback. They could control her because they thought they had it set up so she would be the president, and Obama would remote control, operate the Clinton presidency. When Trump was coming into office and going to put Flynn, and in fact made Flynn, against Obama's suggestions, whatever, made Flynn his national security advisor, they knew they were in deep kimchi, so they had to attack Flynn mercilessly. And they did. They went after him all the way to the moon. And when it came up to the 2020 election, they could not let, because they had Trump under all sorts of problems. So they had to do something to yard Trump in and try to, not let him get that second term. So they cheated to outer space. They cheated in 2016. They just couldn't imagine that Trump could win as big as he did. They never in their wet dreams thought he could. So when he did win big, then
that's a God thing, right? When he that's all.
Well, yeah. I mean, he got a vote that was bigger than they could even cheat. 2020, they came in and cheated even bigger. Now that's all the reports from the guys that we have from outside the country who actually did that. And now we're in protective situation here in the U.S. and have been talking with all of their interpreters to the people over at Homeland Security, to Tulsi Gabbard's people at Office of Director of National Intelligence and all the other agencies, right? So, but again, who was really behind that? Obama's included, Brennan, Comey, Clapper, a number of people are included this, including the Clintons. And so,
and the Bush family, right?
Well, that's really a different situation, and I'll hold on that for the time being. There's angles there, but not what they're not in the same category as what we're describing right now. Okay.
Okay.
So within that all, what you're going to find out is that the crew that was controlling the Obama and Biden vice presidency, all those years, the crew behind that has also been engineering elections for a very long time, and the false flags, and that's over at SES, Senior Executive Service, but that'll come further into the fight. For the moment, they're going after all those people, first Russia, then the election fraud stuff, 2016 and 2020. Because they cheated in 2016, they just didn't cheat big enough. They doubled down in 2020 and then got Biden in under a fraud. Trump and crew were in a position where the choice was go to civil war. That's what December 18th was about, when Patrick and Mike Flynn and Joe Flynn and Giuliani and Powell and others were there at the White House talking with Trump. And overnight, Trump consulted general staff who are his trusted advisors in that particular situation. And they said, you cannot create an Insurrection Act document with Sidney Powell. And they'd already gamed this out, but just to make sure he didn't make a mistake, considering everything, they went through it again and decided that no, you cannot sign an Insurrection Act document. And so Trump revoked Sidney Powell's security clearances at the White House to come in the next day and start working.
Was she setting him up, or she just didn't know any better?
No, those people that came and talked to President Trump were just unaware of other things that were going on.
They're not read in. They're not read in.
No, they weren't read in on that part. And President Trump, there was a lot of questions. Should we be doing something we're not doing at this point in time? Has anybody overlooked something? And when they game it out, did they make a mistake and not give full credit for a possibility, or not anticipate good patriots showing up at a critical moment? And the decision was, no, you'll run the country into civil war, which of course the Obamas, they even did a movie about it, America going into civil war. So where we're at is that Tulsi and Homeland Security are beginning to get ready to, some of these have already been presented to grand juries, but there's got to be a coherent effort to get all of them. Russia, then the election fraud and arrest, and begin building out Gitmo and sending people over to Gitmo. As that happens, then we go into some of the other mischief with the banking fraud and other stuff. Now, this exact second, right now, what's going on is activities involving the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury. And it's a big, big deal.